We're outside Dawson High School where there was an apparent suicide attempt by a student at the school this morning. According to Pearland ISD, the student was found by a teacher. Life flight was called out here. The student was transported to the hospital. No word on his condition at this point. Students were at one point not allowed to go into school, but classes have resumed. There was a heavy police presence outside of Dawson High School earlier this morning. The police have now left, but again, authorities telling us that there was a student here at Dawson High School who attempted suicide at the school this morning.
Attempted to hang himself in a stairwell. A teacher found him and called for help. Two coaches lifted the teen, administering first aid. He was taken by life flight to a Houston hospital.
I thank God that it was a teacher that found him and not another student or my son.
Sadness. I mean, just sadness.
We went to the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Greater Houston to understand how parents can approach the topic of suicide with their children.
We should have honest discussions about mental health like we have with the birds and the bees.
Executive Director Glenn Urbach says first, educate yourself about mental illness.
And these are the major mental illnesses. This is when it usually starts. These are the symptoms.
Which will prepare you to listen as you ask straightforward questions, using today's suicide attempt to start the conversation.
You would tell your kids is, well, do you think that was a good idea? I mean, you know, if you were in his place and you were having troubles with school, would you have done that? That's a good place to start. If your child says, yeah, Mom, I've thought about that too. Well, there you go. Now you have a child that's thought about suicide that you had no idea.
And the important thing, he says, is not to dance around it. I even asked some students today about how they wish to be spoken to. And one student said, yeah, people are just waiting. They have people around them that care about them, but they just need somebody to ask them, are you thinking about hurting yourself, in order to get up the courage to talk about what they need. Tonight at 6 o'clock, we will continue this discussion and include details about what Pearland ISD is doing to attempt to alleviate some of the issues going on, considering the suicide attempt that has happened here today. Reporting live in Pearland tonight, Elisa Rivas, 13 Eyewitness News.
All right.
And with a series of we begin with a series of school assemblies at several local schools that were supposed to uplift students. But some say the speakers crossed the line. Josh Chapin is live in Pearland with this exclusive story tonight. Josh.
Rika, everyone agrees the assemblies themselves were not religious in nature, that they mostly contained uplifting, mostly positive messages. But it was what was handed out at the end that some believe was a lure to an evangelical crusade. At Challenger Columbia Stadium in Webster, thousands came to be inspired at this Go Tell crusade, expected to draw 20,000 over the course of the weekend.
It's their largest crusade ever.
It's an event some in Pearland feel they were blindly invited to this week.
We were given these little pizza night tickets, that's what they were calling them.
Puna Maida says this ticket was given out at the end of a school assembly, which she says was part magic show, part motivational. Joan Yu got a ticket too.
It was something like pushed really hard for, like they had teachers passing them out.
The tickets touted free pizza and a chance to win an iPhone. But if you look more closely, it also says Go Tell on the side, as in Go Tell Ministries, which is run by Rick Gage, a well-known evangelist.
Dawson High School is a family, is what he was saying. And I really like that message.
Dr. John Kelly is the superintendent of Pearland ISD. He helped bring the assemblies to the district in light of 2 recent suicides at Pearland High School.
But this seems like a form of recruitment in a public school.
Well, I can't speak for the intention of the tickets or the person who made them, but you know, we have a policy on the distribution of non-school literature.
The district says if an organization like the YMCA can pass out literature, so can a group like this. Students and parents, though, question that.
I don't want any random person enticing my children to do things with other churches. I want them to be able to make that choice freely.
I don't think it's something that they should be handing out or encouraging students to go to in school. I don't see how that's appropriate.
We tried speaking with Rick Gage at the crusade tonight, but he declined our comment. To be clear, he himself wasn't at the assemblies, but some of his team members were. We also reached out to Dickinson and Alvin ISD. They too had these assemblies this week. So far, they tell us no complaints. Live in Pearland tonight, I'm Josh Chapin, KHOU 11 News.